Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's community webcast. I know this was a very busy travel month for many of us, and probably also many of you. That's one of the reasons why our March webcast slipped slightly into April. So this is kind of an in-between March and April ESS community webcast. I think still we have great content today. I'll have some community news. I'll do a brief review of two very exciting events that I had the opportunity to attend the last couple of weeks. I will then have my friend and IBM champion Jan Waldmann here with me, who will talk about a very exciting upcoming event, the Social Connections 8 conference in Boston. And then I have two members of the IBM Connections product management team, Jim Puckett and Renee Schimmer, who are going to give us an update about IBM Docs, who just released a new version and with some very exciting updates. So I'm also looking forward to this presentation. So let me start with a very brief kind of look back in the last couple of weeks. I was traveling in Europe with many, maybe also I see some of you here in the e-meeting that have attended these conferences. A very, very great and successful trip for me. I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of champions, a lot of community members, both in Bremen at the ICS user group conference, which happened on March 26th and 27th. Stefan Zucker, who you see here, put together a great event, about 120 attendees, 2 days. Great speakers, great content. Renee, who you see here, and at the top in the middle, who's also with us today, did part of the keynote together with Kramer Reeves. Great roadmap presentation, and then really a great set of breakout sessions that covered the whole portfolio. Thank you, Stefan and team from We4IT, to putting that conference together. This was the first time that they did a two-day conference, and I think it started off very, very successful. Then on March 30 and 31st, I think this is for many community members the highlight of the conference season. We had Engage in Ghent, organized by Theo Hazelmans, and then if you've been there or if you've read online about Engage conferences, you know that Theo always finds really fantastic locations, and then this was sure also true this year. The opening session, you see a picture here on the right, was in the aula of the university, a fantastic venue, and this was actually the last ever event that happened in that venue there. As is, it will be completely renovated, so we had the honor kind of to close down this venue of the university. The main conference then happened in a monastery from the 13th century, spectacular building. You see one of the breakout rooms here in the attic under the roof of the monastery. Fantastic location, really. Theo again had over 320 participants, so this is by far the largest user group conference in the world that we have centered around our products. Again, great community, fantastic speaker, more than 30 champions there. Kramer Reeves, again, had together with Uffe Sørensen, Omar Davison, and Renee Schimmer the keynote. Great demos of Verse and IBM Connections Next. Again, very, very good keynote content, roadmap content, and 2 full days of breakout sessions. So again, please take the opportunity, go to the websites. Most of the session presentations are posted. If you Google for engage.ug or ics.ug or go to Planet Lotus, you'll see a lot of great reviews, so that you get a better feeling what's going on. And again, I think as I do every month, I can only recommend you, if you have the opportunity, if one of these user group conferences is local to you, it's absolutely worth taking the time and visiting there. It's great content, it's great community building, great networking, so really a fantastic opportunity to meet with your peers. So talking about upcoming user group meetings, on the next slide you see the conference season is kind of continuing throughout the second and third quarter. Really looking forward, and we have Jan talking about that in a minute, a little bit more detail. Next week, actually, we have Social Connections 8 here in Cambridge, right in my backyard, in the office in Cambridge where I used to work. Social Connections is focused on kind of the social software connections, IBM connections, technology, but also deployment and adoption. I've been to 2 of those conferences. Really worth your time. So if you are in the Boston area, if you have the opportunity to travel maybe to Boston next week, Jan will give you some more details, and I'm really looking forward to Social Connections 8 next week. We then have in May meeting of the Norwegian user group, end of May 27, May 28, and then a little bit later in the year, in June, we have the DNUC conference. Most of you know the German user group, very established user group, always great showcase, great IBM presence as well, and really good presentations as well for the German-speaking folks if you have a chance to attend this. And then in August, we're looking forward to Midwest Lotus user group, which is going to happen in Atlanta this year. Just talked to Richard yesterday in the Ritz-Carlton in Atlanta. Everybody's really excited. This is also going to be another great event. And then two more events a little bit later in the third quarter, in September 21st and to 23rd. The Admin Camp in Gelsenkirchen, organized by IBM champion Rudi Knecht. Many of you know this event. Really super deep technical focus, great speakers, certainly worth attending. And then also in November, a very established user group, the Dan Notes conference, is happening as every year in November. Also looking forward to this, certainly. The URL that I have posted here, bit.ly/SBUG conferences, is a link to the wiki page on the Social Business User Group, where we continuously update a list of conferences. This is also user editable, so if you are aware of an event that you think should be listed, please feel free to add it yourself, or if you want to let me know, I'm happy to also add that for you. So this is the idea is really to have a central point that you can go to, where you find conferences that are going on in your area, where you also find links to presentation materials about past conferences. So please check out this URL. We also have some very interesting offline resources. As many of you hopefully know, we had the GA for IBM Verse last week on March 31st. Very exciting time here for us at IBM. Many of us really worked hard for this moment. You know that you can sign up for Verse at ibm.com/verse, and also have a real information-rich landing page that is linked here. Also a reminder that all of the presentations from Connected 2015 are available on the Social Business User Group site for download. And then also reminders to the 3 key newsletters that Celia and the team from SBUG are putting together every month with really helpful information, with tips from IBM champions Chris Miller and Kathy Brown this month, and also with a summary of information from the ICS education team. So again, if you haven't had the chance to check out the newsletters or to sign up for the newsletters, please go to SBUG socialbusinessusergroup.org. Register, sign up for the newsletters. You'll be kept up to date about these webcasts, for example, about any other events that are going on, and also about the user group conferences. So with that, I would hand it over to Jan. Jan is an IBM champion. Jan has been on the organization team of the Social Connections Conference for a while. We're looking forward to see Jan next week here in Boston, and he's going to give us an update about what will be going on at Social Connections 8.
Thanks, Ali. Thanks for the introduction. You did almost all of my work already, so I have to be brief. So as you already know, we run the Social Connections Conference in Boston in the end of the next week. It's the 8th conference. This is the first time we decided to run it on the U.S. ground, so it's pretty challenging for us. I can share some numbers with you if you're interested. We have 52 sessions on many topics. We have tracks for administration, development, management, social business adoption, whatever you can find related to IBM connections. We have a lot of well-known speakers either from the community. There are, I think, 25 champions attending, and we have many world-class speakers. We will have Ed Braille, we have Louis Richardson, Luis Benitez, Susan Livingston, all of the well-known names. They will be with us and giving their presentations on lectures on social connections. At the moment, we are almost full. We have people registered from 15 countries, and we expect to hit our numbers by the end of this week. So if you are interested, I would recommend to register very soon, because we have less than maybe 23 seats for the conference. So that's all from me. If you are interested, please check our website and find whether there is something interesting for you. I believe that you will find what you want to. So thanks, Oli, and I will pass over.
All right. Thank you very much, Jan. And then again, I just want to stress again about the quality of the speakers that the Social Connections team was able to pull together. So both from IBM, Jan mentioned a few names like Susie Livingston, Luis Benitez. We're also going to have many folks from our design team speaking. Carolyn Pampino, many of you know her. She's the director of the ESS design team, will speak, and also many of the community experts. It's really like if you check out the website, it's really like a who is who of the kind of social business and IBM Connections experts. I'm really looking forward to that event. In the chat, somebody actually mentioned, and thank you, Matteo. No reason that I have actually left out ICON UK, which is going to happen on the 21st and 22nd of September. Another great event that I did not have in the list. I know it's part of the wiki. I will add it here to my list. Tim Clark, again, is putting together the first time a 2-day event in London on the 21st and 22nd of September. So another great event to add to the lineup here. So with that, I would hand it over to Jim Puckett and Renee Schimmer, who both are members of the product management team for IBM Connections. And Jim, maybe if you do a brief introduction of yourself while I hand over control to you and then go through the slides. And thank you much for joining this morning.
All right, great. Thanks. So let me make sure I'm grabbing. Trying to grab control here while you pass it over to me.
Yeah, you should be presenter now.
Okay. Make sure that works. Yep, it does. Okay, good. Just want to make sure I was able to control that. So let me put that back. So thank you all for the opportunity to come and talk to you. And I'm very happy to be able to talk to you about some of the new things that we've done with IBM Docs, both in our cloud release and our on-premise release. And I'm glad to have Renee with me to also comment more about some of the other integrations that we've done with this release related to CCM and as well as one of the new releases that we've just put into cloud that Renee will give an update on as well, that will also include an opportunity to be able to add docs into that solution. So let me go ahead and get us started here. First, the legal disclaimer slide. We always have to show this. So some of the things that we are going to be talking about are already done. Obviously, no problems there, but we do have some things that we're going to talk about that we're working on for later this year and then also into next year. So subject to change on those. But this is our get out of jail free if I showed you something that I probably that might change. So for this standpoint, what we'd like to do is go ahead and talk about what we've released with Connections Doc, so the product updates, and then if we have some time at the end, we'll also do a couple little bits of demo, assuming that the karma works out and the demo servers behave this morning. So let's go ahead and move forward. So first off, I just want to set kind of a level set here in terms of where we are and where Doc sits in the context of IBM Connections. So many of you may, or I assume most of you are familiar with the portfolio that we have, being members of this community, and knowing what IBM Connections represents in terms of all of its components. So today we're going to highlight more about Docs and how we have been integrating more deeply into the IBM Connections environment, both in terms of what we can do with same-time chat, as well as adding additional repositories for the ability to edit with IBM Docs when it comes to CCM and with Navigator. So we often have felt that being, part of this portfolio is a very strong position for us, and certainly as our customers, it gives you a lot greater value and flexibility of what you can do, can achieve, and whether it's using all of the components or picking and choosing amongst them depending on your business needs. So let's jump right into IBM Docs. So this is what I want to present today, and let me double check this over here. There's a question over there. So from a Docs perspective, this is where we're at today, and this is what we've been working on and developing in the product over the last couple of years. So collaborative editing and using that to increase productivity of users. There's been studies over the years that talk about how one of the most painful things of working with a team to assemble, whether it's a presentation, a document, working on spreadsheets, is consolidating all of that information. So Docs set out to make that a much simpler, easier process. And we do that through, web-based collaborative editing. So you always know what the latest version is. And then we add into it some of the social aspects that really help with that creation that normally you would have to get on the phone and talk through different things or email that file around and highlight changes. So we take care of that all within the editors during those active co-editing sessions. So whether it's real-time doing those co-edits or doing the edits and then your team, depending on what time zone, different countries, can come on and make those edits and see that work. So from that standpoint, we have a social commenting theme stream that we use that promotes that, as well as a discussion thread that we can use. And we also provide the editor awareness, and I'll show you on some of the other slides how we've updated this design. So if you haven't looked at Docs in our release in the cloud, if you're using one of our older on-premise versions, you'll notice that this is an update to the UI. So we'll show some more of that in just a minute. On the mobile front, we do have edit capabilities for the iPad. It's online only, and it's also documents only at this time. So for a little bit last year, we had to remove that editing functionality while we were working on our document editor, and we just restored that through the Connections mobile update that was released last month. So in March, late March, when the Connections mobile update came out, it restored that capability. Since mobile is one of the most common questions that I get.
Nezavěšujte, prosím. Vyčkejte na spojení. Please do not hang up. Your call will be answered as soon as possible. Nezavěšujte, prosím. Vyčkejte na spojení. Please do not hang up. Your call will be answered as soon as possible. Nezavěšujte, prosím. Vyčkejte na spojení. Please do not hang up. Your call will be answered as soon as possible. Nezavěšujte, prosím. Vyčkejte na spojení. Please do not hang up. Your call will be answered as soon as possible. Nezavěšujte, prosím. Vyčkejte na spojení. Please do not hang up. Your call will be answered as soon as possible. Nezavěšujte prosím, vyčkejte na spojení. Please do not hang up. Your call will be answered as soon as possible. Nezavěšujte prosím, vyčkejte na spojení. Please do not hang up. Your call will be answered as soon as possible. Nezavěšujte prosím, vyčkejte na spojení. Please do not hang up. Your call will be answered as soon as possible. Nezavěšujte prosím, vyčkejte na spojení.
Mr. Heinz, can we go ahead?
I'm sorry about that. I think we're back now. Jim, are you still there?
Yeah, I was wondering if my phone had just started acting up or what.
Yeah, no, I think it was in the conference, but we've disconnected the line, so please go ahead, Jim. Sorry about that.
Sorry, it came from Mr. Veldman's line.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Go ahead, Jim, and sorry about that, everybody.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, hey, it wouldn't be a live session if something didn't happen, right? Always the case. Okay, so back on track here. So from a mobile standpoint, we do get a lot of questions about what we're doing. Obviously, mobile plays a big part of what's going on. So what we've been doing, we made a decision here to start looking at a different tack in terms of what we were going to do for mobile editing capabilities. And based on a lot of the changes that were happening actually pretty rapidly in that space, in terms of what was changing from iOS in terms of the extensions that they were opening up and providing, as well as the same type of extensions being offered on Android starting in 4.4 and 5.0. We started to look at different ways that we could work better on mobile devices, and started looking at some partner solutions that we could work with that would provide both phone and tablet support, and would also get us support across, the two main mobile platforms, so iOS as well as Android. We've done more on the iOS platform first because that's mostly where our customers have been telling us that they have the most need, and that's where they're working. But that started to shift. At some point last year, we started getting a lot more requests for mobile capabilities on Android as well. And of course, with the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, those phones are getting a lot bigger. The phablets are starting to become more popular. So we took kind of a step back to look at the market and make some changes. So for us, we're looking at this partner-based solution, and we also realize that it has to be secure as well. So we're also looking at making sure that we have MDM and NAM support that works with the majority of those mainstream providers, so whether it's Moss, Citrix, AirWatch, Mobile Iron. And then again, we're also aware that even though people have expressed the need to edit on a mobile device, we want to focus mainly on what are the most significant features and functions that you would do on a mobile device, since that is still a little bit of a challenge from a real estate standpoint, and doing extensive edits or very complicated actions. But with this approach too, we also would be supportive of an offline capability and have that align with what the file team has been doing with file sync and share. So these are the things that we're working on for this year. Stay tuned. We'll have some more information as we progress on this. Now this is a bit of an eye chart. Make sure you can test your eyes this morning. I'm not going to read all this to you, but one of the things I wanted to highlight on it, just a few of the pieces there. So we often get kind of the question of, what's your elevator pitch? I don't know if that's just a U.S. expression. But this would be the pitch if the elevator broke down and you were stuck there for a while and needed to fill the time to talk. But this is something that we often get asked about, different questions around, what does IBM Docs do? Why is it important? What can it benefit from a team standpoint? How does it benefit the individual, worker as well? So from that standpoint, we just wanted to put together something that kind of helps address those items, and then call out that, it is a web-based office productivity suite that is, basically designed to help with that create, share, co-edit, and review of the files. So it's about increasing productivity and making things a lot easier. And then, of course, with the capabilities that are included in the product, with this latest release that we have with 107, we're extending those capabilities to include, files that are in CCM libraries, files in ECM libraries, and then also including an option to integrate same time chat into those as well. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about what we have put into 107. So this is our latest on-premise release that was shipped on 2/24. So with this, what we've done, and one of the most significant aspects of 107 was the focus on deployment. In our previous versions, we had a scripted installation that was a little bit challenging. So it took a longer time, and there was a lot of setup and a lot of manual steps that you had to use in order to get it installed. And as a result, we typically had to have services engagements for our customers who were wanting to purchase and install IBM Docs. So with the new GUI installer, we've now simplified the installation process to the point where we don't need to have that kind of a services engagement. So for our customers, business partners, whoever that are proficient with connections as connections administrators in a deployed connections environment, they will be able to use this new installer and basically get Docs up and running in a very quick time frame now. We also have the centralized deployment, and we've added in some online help content as well. So as you're moving through the screens, you can actually click and get help on any of those sections as well. One of the other things we had added was a Windows-only option. So in previous versions, we had to do a mix of Linux and Windows, the conversion server requiring Windows. But we've now done this to where you can install all of the Docs components on a Windows-only environment. We had many customers that wanted a single OS, and so Windows is the one that we were able to do first and have that in this release. We also have supported, as I mentioned, same-time chat. And if we get to the demo piece of this, I can show you inside the editor where you can see presence awareness and be able to chat with the other editors and have that conversation. We also have integration with Content Navigator, version 203 for them. And then we've also integrated with Connections Content Manager, so the CCM integration. Renee, I don't know if you want to give us a quick update on CCM. So this does require, the integration does require the latest version of Connections with 107.
I'm happy to chime in here. So hello, everyone. I'm Renee Schimmer. I'm also product manager on the social team and specifically on the Connections team, and I own the CCM integration, among other things. So let me just put a quick plug in here for CCM. So like Jim says, with 107, we now support Connections Content Manager for IBM Docs, which means if you need more advanced document management features in Connections other than what the file sharing of Connections files offers you, that's when you would purchase CCM. Right? CCM gives you nested folders, it gives you basic approval routing, and it gives you advanced metadata taxonomies in case you think your users need those slightly more advanced document management features. The integration with IBM Docs will now allow you to navigate from within a library to a document and then simply click the Edit button to open IBM Docs, and you can make changes, and those changes will then, of course, be stored back to the server, and then once published, you have a new version of the document. So this is really nicely integrated and gives the user a really fluid user experience when editing documents. The key point here is that CCM, Connections Content Manager, it's based on a technology called FileNet Content Manager. And another user experience, if you purchase the full FileNet Content Manager, is called the Content Navigator. So the Navigator is a user interface that you get when you purchase a full FileNet license. And that's why you see it listed here as another option to invoke IBM Docs, because also with 107, users will be able to navigate through documents in Navigator and then simply click the Edit button to start working on documents. So certain iFixes are required to make that work on the FileNet side. So if you are on connection CR1, for example, with CCM, CR1, you need to upgrade to CR2. So if you plan on doing that, just have a quick look at the documentation. And with that, back to you.
All right, great. Thanks, Renee. And let me go ahead and move this forward. So again, here's some of the new things that we've put into Docs 107. And actually, let me mention that this content was also released to the cloud at the end of last year. So, and that's our model with IBM Docs, actually. So everything that we do, we deploy into our cloud environment first, and then we take all of those updates and then put them into a new version that our on-premise customers can deploy. One of the other questions I've had, basically, just to touch on the piece on CCM integration as well. So Docs 107 does support both connections 4.5 and 5.0, but for the CCM integration, you have to be on the latest versions of both. So if you did want to have that integration, you would need to be on the latest versions. It's not supported in the 4.5 implementations of connections. So let's go ahead and talk here a little bit about some things that we've done. So the new design, the new sidebar design, there's a little peek of it there on the right, and I'll show you a couple more screenshots of there as well. So that's kind of an improved commenting function that we have, and you can also see, hopefully it's big enough there, the same time integration that shows up. The big change that we did to the document editor is we now have a paginated editor, and I'll show you a screenshot of that as well. So in previous versions, it looked like just one long kind of streaming page. We now have the page breaks available, and that also means that in the table of contents, you get exact page numbers versus just a virtual link to where that content is. We've also updated the format. So now the default format is .docx. On the presentation editor, a couple of things here. So when we were putting together this presentation, the timing was going to be kind of interesting because we were actually updating the design of our presentation editor again in the cloud, and I'll show you what that looks like with the March cloud release. But in terms of 107, this is the upgrade that we have for those customers. And one of the biggest things we get asked about on spreadsheets is the file sizes. So we've been continuing to grow and increase those limits. So right now we have 10,000 rows, 1024 columns, 400,000 cells, or a total of 10 megabytes. It is important to note that in this version, only those first 52 columns of each spreadsheet can be edited, although the remaining content is preserved. So if you once you download the file, all that other content is there and available. So we don't break or change any of that other content. So let's look a little bit more at some of this stuff. So in terms of the new layout, if you look at this on the sidebar, so we've essentially shifted everything from the left over to the right, and then added much better visual and graphics to it to make it more of a conversational flow. So you can see the button that we have up at the top. So that gives you notifications, and you'll see alerts since the last time you came in. It'll be noted in red and how many updates have happened since you came in. But you can also toggle that button to open and close that side space, so you can get the real estate back for the editing, open it back up, and then work on the commenting thread. So we make it a lot easier to make better use of the screen real estate. The profile pictures and business cards, so you can hover over those and get content about the editors that you're working with, as well as the same time awareness or the same time presence. So in that one, you can see that the two editors are both green on their same time status, and the other editor is not in nor on same time. But if they were in a meeting or something like that, or their content was green but they weren't in the document, you could essentially ping somebody and stay right there within the context of editing, not have to jump back out to same time. And then also from the standpoint of improved co-editor highlights, so we've taken a lighter touch in terms of being able to track where the editors are at and what content they've changed in the document. So we have this light color underline of the text versus previously it was more of a heavier highlight that went over the text that was a little bit more distracting in that one, and in this case it's less distracting in terms of what you're doing, but you can still see, what editor has done what. In terms of commenting, we've also made it a lot easier to pop up the boxes with the resolve, reply, and delete, and made those less of a hindrance to the actual content of the document if you're working on it. So on the document editor, here's just a quick screenshot to show you this got kind of wiped out when we published it. But you can see the improved header and footer that we have, as well as the visual page breaks. And you can see in the table of contents we actually, list the specific pages there. In terms of spreadsheets, we've added multi-column filtering. So previous versions we only had single. So this is something that our customers have been asking for. So we've gotten that addressed, as well as the highlights, so you can tell better what you're working on. And let's see, we're going long, so let me speed things up a little bit. The presentation editor, this is what we added for 107 that was released last year, and I'll show you the one that we just released in a minute. So we did add some additional functionality here. One of the things we've been asked about too is copying slides. So you can actually copy up to 5 slides between different docs presentations as you're working on them. And then this is just a visual of what we have been doing this year. And then you'll see in purple some of the things that we're tracking for later this year or into next year. So a lot of these will fall into the early 2016 timeframe. But, things change. So we may, we're still working on some of the priorities that we're going to put together there. Under the common section, one of the things that we get asked about from our customers too, so I mentioned that we have Windows-only support. We're also working on a Linux-only offering as well. So for those customers that don't want to have a Windows server, or it's a difficulty to have a Windows server in their deployment, we'll also have a Linux-only version as well. So let me take a break here and let Renee talk about the new feature that we've released in Smart Cloud, and this one, again, Docs is available for this as well. So, Renee?
Yep, thank you. Okay, so about a month ago, on March 10, we actually made a new offering available on Connections Cloud, which is squarely targeting the enterprise file sync and share market. So enterprise file sync and share is a space defined as a cloud-based solution to allow you to upload your documents to a cloud storage and then synchronize them across your devices and share with people inside and outside your organization, and all of that in a secure way, hence the enterprise. So there are a lot of vendors in this space, but we felt that with the Connections platform that we have a really great starting point, especially for the enterprise space. So let's move on to the next slide. What we did is we packaged a new offering that takes the Connections file service, the profiles, the home page, the mobile client, the desktop client, and the search, and packages it in an offering that clearly addresses the need of, I need to put my files in the cloud, I want to keep them synchronized across my devices, and I want to be able to share with my colleagues or with my partners in a secure way. So this offering is now available. It is priced at only $4 per user per month, and with that you get a whopping, which should be plenty for, we have added the profiles capability. So even though it's not full Connections, right, it's priced below Connections and it doesn't address the full social networking platform use case, it still gives you the ability to follow content and follow people and start creating a network of people that you follow. So this is a great way to enter the social space, but simply focus on files, without using communities, etc. So we announced this. It's available, and of course, since it's using the Connections platform technology, it also allows you to use IBM Docs to edit the documents that are saved in here. Docs is an add-on, so let's move on to the next slide. It's not included in this offering, but it's an option that you can add once you selected Connections files on cloud. And this picture here shows you the context of where this new offering actually fits in. Right, so you see all the way on the left, Connections Files Cloud. Again, a dedicated offering just for the enterprise file sync and share market that gives you files and profiles. And then as you move over to the right, these are the other cloud bundles on the Connections platform. Connections Social is core Connections. This is where you would add communities and activities and dashboards, blogs, etc. And then, of course, S2 and S1, increasingly larger bundles, and then S1 is the bundle where you would also include Docs as part of the package. So a lot of choices here, and this Connections Files Cloud offering is making quite a splash. We have a lot of customers interested in it. So check it out. We have a landing page on IBM.com. There's more information there. With that, back to you, Jim.
Great, thanks. So now, like I said, I'm cognizant of the time, so talking fast. So some of the things that I wanted to show you that we've been working on for the more near term in terms of getting things out this year in our next release. So a lot of this is content that we're working on for mid-year for cloud delivery, and then just in the second half for our next on-premise delivery, including the March cloud update that I'll show you here on the next slide. So with our presentation editor, we actually released this new design change with the March update, which I think was on the 21st of March. So we now have this new menu and toolbar, but it includes a zoom in and zoom out function, which is made things a whole lot easier in terms of when you're trying to lay out your presentations and get them set up. One of the bigger challenges is then, having to use the browser-only option to make it bigger or smaller, which of course wrecks all the other tabs that you might have open. So this has been very helpful, especially I'll say myself, because I'm always changing presentations. But we had a lot of input from customers who are looking for a better way to do that. So we think this is very nice and will help the use case make this a lot easier. The other thing that we did is we redesigned the table function. So now you can simply just drag to the size of the table that you're looking for, and it'll go ahead and create that for you right away. So again, we think that's another usability improvement that we've been able to deliver in the March update. So if you're a cloud customer, you'll have this capability today. One of the other things that this is a couple other things that we did during the March update. So one of the things we've gotten some good feedback on as well is this new little feature tour. So it'll pop up the first time when you edit in a presentation document or spreadsheet, and give you the option if you want to see what those new capabilities are within that editor. You can also just click the X and get out of it right away, and it won't become a distraction. So that was one of the things we wanted to make sure that we are giving customers a neat ability to be able to kind of see quickly what's changed, but also if they already know, we're not going to bug you with it every time. And for our more technical area, we do have the 12 new engineering formulas on the spreadsheets. I'm not an engineer, so I won't try and tell you what all those mean. So this is one of the things that we've been working on for a while. So we want to replace the existing image-based viewer that we've been using up until this point. And so the team's been working very hard on getting this set up. So the advantage is that now when we release the HTML viewer, you will have essentially the same fidelity between the viewer and the editor. So what you would see in both is almost exactly the same. instead of right now, especially with spreadsheets. We like to show this with spreadsheets because with the image-based viewer, it's very difficult to really navigate and use an image-based viewer on a spreadsheet. So with this one, the HTML-based viewer, you can now navigate that spreadsheet. And we're also going to include some other functions that will also help with that to, basically the goal is to keep you from having to download that, take it offline, or edit it if you don't have, those abilities, but really make it a useful tool. So you can freeze the rows, freeze the columns, just other things like that. We're also working on, like a copy option too, where you can take content, copy it from that viewer, and then, paste it into, another application, another spreadsheet, that sort of thing. Same thing on the presentation side. So this is a view of what our HTML viewer for the presentation editor would look like. So you've got the nice slide sorter over on the left-hand side, makes it easy to navigate. And then also just a couple of things up in the top corner where, you can easily go to print the slides or hit the play button and essentially launch into a presentation mode. And then if you see something you want to edit, you can quickly click the edit button and go right into the editor as well. Our new spreadsheet editor, so this is the one that we're working on. I saw the folks who had asked about the 52-column limit. So this is something that we're working on for, we'll have this targeted for mid-year time frame in the cloud environment, and that is to increase that 52-column limitation. The performance team is still doesn't want me to say the exact number that we're targeting because we're still kind of working through that to make sure that we can achieve it. But I will say that it's hundreds more than the 52 columns that we have now, as well as a much larger file size support that we'll have. So as soon as the performance and development team gives me the green light, I'll be glad to share the more closer to the numbers that we're anticipating there. But it is going to be much significant over what we have today. So it should align with a lot of what the requests are that we've had from customers who have been using it today with simple spreadsheets and want to expand those capabilities. Vertical cell merge, that's another one that we get requests for all the time, so we can do horizontal, but vertical has not made it in until, so this year we'll be adding that. Data validation is another one that we've had a lot of requests on, and that is for imported spreadsheets only. So if you've been working with a spreadsheet that does include data validation, when you upload that into files and start working with it with the docs editors, that data validation will be there. You won't be able to create new data validation fields, but we'll be able to work with everything that was imported. And then just to kind of get towards the end here and wrap us up. So one of the things I wanted to close out here on is themes and what we've been doing as a team for IBM Docs. So our focus is around, the IBM design thinking model. So we've been working a lot more with our design leads, and we've been spending a lot more time doing customer interviews, both customers who have already purchased and started using Docs, as well as customers who haven't used it yet but are thinking about it, so we can get different perspectives on the capabilities and the expectations and how to make things a lot more intuitive. One of the big focuses that we have right now that we're working on to deliver later this year is around the draft and publish. So for customers who have started talking or started looking at using the editors, they often don't know intuitively when to publish or why they should publish, and so you end up with drafts that are sitting there. So we've kind of taken this to our design team to come up with, what's a better way that makes this a lot more intuitive. So we're working through those kind of some sprints on those right now, so that come later this year, we'll make an update to the editors to make that a lot easier. And then, of course, we have the core editing, social collaboration, as well as mobile are kind of the middle area here, kind of intentionally put that on the chart that way as well. So we have to balance adding additional core editing features and functions with the social collaboration, which gives us kind of the advantage over some of the other competitors. And then we also realize that we have some work to do in the mobile space because that's also a very key area for a lot of our customers and is continuing to evolve. And then, of course, it's all based on a foundation of, integration. So we've got a very strong portfolio that we live inside of, but we also get requests for how else can we integrate docs across our products as well as, what kind of third-party integrations would be helpful for customers. So these are the areas that kind of drive what we're doing, our themes for docs and how we develop the product. Where do I go from here? So we also get questions on how people can get started. So we do have in the top link there a use guide. So it's kind of a basic getting started of things that you would see when you start to do editing. So you can grab that. We also have the Knowledge Center link. So that's our Docs 107, everything that was released there. We have some short little video clips that kind of talk about, how to do the editing and sharing. And then we also have an overview, which is about a 5-minute video that's posted as well. That again kind of is a quick way to understand what IBM Docs is, how you can share with others, and what that collaborative editing looks like. We also get asked a lot about known limits. So this is usually around the file sizes. So here's a link there that is the most up-to-date in terms of file sizes and things that you might need to know before you get started. And then also the what's new in our cloud release if you want to take a look at those. You can also use the trials in the cloud as well as sign up for Greenhouse, and you can use Greenhouse as well. We're actually working on getting the Greenhouse version refreshed and putting some of our beta code that we're working on out there for input so that we can get early feedback from customers on what you like and things that we can do to improve. And with that, we have enough time. We've only got a couple minutes. I was going to say I can switch over to demo, or we can take some questions. Actually, we can open the line and do some questions, and I'll just switch over and do a little bit of the demo that I was going to do while we talk. So if people aren't on the audio cast and want to ask a question, let's go ahead and do that. And we can also look at answering the questions in the chat.
Okay, Sam, are you here with us? And thank you very much, Jim and Renee. Great job, and thanks for leaving some time for questions. Sam, are you here?
Yes, I'm here, sir. And we will now begin the question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question, you may press star and then 1. Please record your name when prompted. Your name is required to introduce your question. And to withdraw your request, just press star and then 2. One moment, please, for the first question.
So while we wait for that, Jim and Renee, I'm just going to scroll up and see here in the chat. The first question that Simon had, I'm not sure if we have answered that. Docs, is that cloud first, cloud only? Is that available for connections on premises?
What was it? I'm sorry, I didn't see that one.
Is IBM Docs, is that only cloud, or is it available for connections on-prem as well?
We're both. So we develop everything and deliver it to the cloud first, and then we will take updates like this 107 release and make that available for our on-prem connections customers.
Okay. Is there a time frame for the 107 on-prem?
So 107 is the one we just released. So that one was shipped in February 24th. So that is our most recent version for our on-premise customers.
Oh, for on-prem. Okay, great. Thank you. And then there were several questions about mobile. I think you answered the editing of spreadsheets and slides that was coming. Was there a time frame for that, Jim? I know you had it on your last slide, but was there a time frame for that?
So we just released or reintroduced the ability to be able to edit docs on iPads, so document types, and we're still working on closing out the solution that I talked about. So it's a partner enabled solution, and we'll have some more information on that. Our goal is to have that into a market release before the end of the year, but I can't give you a specific time frame on that right now. We're still working through a number of challenges there.
Sure. Sam, do we have a question on the phone?
At this time, we do not have questions on queue, but once again, to ask a question, you may press star followed by the number 1.
Okay, thank you. And just to confirm for Jörg here, Jim and Renee, this is a public presentation, and we'll share that on SBUG, and it can then also certainly be used by IBMers in customer presentations, right?
Yes, so that one is available. Can you see my screen?
Yep, I see it.
Okay, it just shows the meeting.
There was one more question here. IBM Docs on premises is only on Windows or also on AIX and Linux?
Currently, it's Linux. So with 107 for on-premise, you can deploy either all Windows or you can do the same that we had, which is a combination of Linux and Windows for the 6 components that make up the doc server. We don't officially support AIX, but we have a number of customers that have certain components on AIX, and we can help in terms of making sure that works depending on which components you actually have on AIX.
Okay. Then there was one more question from Mary about limitations, and she says the issue is more the total number of formulas. We hit the limit on a spreadsheet of less than 4 megs. There is a limit for the total number of formulas, if I get that question right?
Yeah, so it's a combination. So it kind of all feeds into a formula, if you will, for where you would hit the limit. So if there are too many formulas, you will hit a limit underneath the file size limit. So it is kind of a formula, if you will, in terms of what's in the spreadsheet. And as I mentioned, we're always working to increase that. So depending on whether for our customers who are in the cloud, we'll obviously be able to deploy the new release to them sooner, but that will give us a much higher limit than we have now with 400,000 cells. Okay.
Were you going to show something quickly, Jim, because we're at the top?
Yeah, I think you're about to. Yeah, we hit the top of the hour. I was just going to kind of come in here and show just the basics of what you see when you're editing, but I think we're pretty much out of time.
Okay. Sam, any questions on the phone?
Still no questions, thank you.
All right, that's fine. Thank you. I think, and thank you, Renee, you have answered several of the questions in the chat already. If there's anything else open, please feel free to contact myself, or also then I will post the replay and the slides probably by tomorrow on my blog on socialbusinessusergroup.org. If there's any comments, please feel free to post the comments there or contact myself directly. Thank you very much, Jim and Renee. I thought a really helpful presentation. Thank you very much, Jan, for the preview to Social Connections 8. I hope I'll see many of you there. And this concludes this month's webcast. Thank you very much for attending, everybody.
Thank you, speakers. And that concludes today's conference. Thank you for participating. You may now disconnect.
Thank you. Bye-bye.